Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to Beaming Global, a safe place where you can authentically keep it real and be yourself. Today, our special guest will continue to take us on a journey in sharing how they overcame some of the most challenging moments in their lives.
Place? Is that maybe
I,
where
I
you're
wasn't
coming from?
telling mom because I told that, recounted that because we then were basically caring and looking after ourselves. We were coming home,
Okay.
you know, we were
Okay.
making
You had
you
already
got.
got accustomed to
I'd
that.
already gotten accustomed to
Before
being
that.
responsible and dealing with adversities.
Okay.
You
I
know,
follow now. I follow.
You understand?
Yes.
Not to any fault, and it didn't change when because they were two dealing with five. They were trying to make it. This was just, I gotten used to trying to defend and stand up, or to just to bear my own burdens. That's the best. I got, so, um,
What are some other scenarios that
so
you've encountered?
So we but again, now at that same school, I told you about this stuff, but I want to tell this one again. On their first time hearing it, God was still there, showing up amazingly. It was winter, and at that time, like I said, where I came from, we got blizzards. I mean, feet and foot of snow, and whatever reason, I had to end up staying there a little bit later, and I remember walking back and walking home, and it's very gray outside and very still and nothing's going on. And because, we don't have much of anything, I have socks on my hands to try to stay warm, but socks didn't do a very good job against those type of winters. And I remember treading through and getting there to the house and up the street and getting there to the house. And it's so, cold. No one's outside. No kid. I mean, it's a blizzard. And I try to get the key out and I try to put the key into the door and I'm pushing it, against the lock, and I'm pushing it. I can't get it because basically it's gotten so cold that the blood is drawing up, to out of my hands and stuff to into my center mass. And I go and finally my hand gets so weak, I end up dropping the key. I was like, man, I said, what am I going to do now? No one's home like this. I know no one's home. Yeah, at that time, I would have been the first one. And I look around at the neighborhood and looking at the houses. There appears to even be no one at the houses. Thinking, what am I going to do now? And I'll tell you, I remember hearing everything get very quiet. And then the wind goes and comes back. And then it goes like this. And I promise you, Nicole, the door pops open this wide.
The front door.
The front door. And I'm looking at amazement. Like, how in the world? And I pick my key up. And I kind of creep open the door thinking somebody must have broken in the house. There's no one in the house. And I turn the handle and it's locked. And I look at the door frame. The door frame looks normal. And I come in and I close the door. And then I pull it and it doesn't pull open. You understand? I unlock it. I look at the door frame again. I look around. I close it again. And it's inexplicable. At that time. See, though I was raised and though we're still in the church at that time, I really did not have a relationship. That I went to church. I know the name of Jesus, did all these things, but I could not recognize, like I said, and I mean, I saw miracles like the money blowing down the street, different things of favor where he was investing in my life that I could not recognize.
It was coming from him.
It was coming from him.
Okay.
So I fell back on a story that my sister had told me about how, we had Native American lineage, which we do, Native American lineage, and and my, she was told that that the ancestors watch over us, and it's always, and so I went. And I remember I was running in the garage and I was around, thank you, ancestors, thank you, just thanking the ancestors. But the Lord knew that I would understand, that He would give His angels watch.
You would understand that later.
He knew I would understand it later. So His grace was even there. So I want to say that anyone that's watching and hearing this, that even if you find yourself outwardly looking to be outside of the provision and the favor of God, He will and He does have a plan for you to have His angels watch, to bring you, if you just would open up your eyes to see where He's extending His hand. He was extending His hand, and He never got tired of doing that. He's investing in your life as He was investing in my life, because there'll come a day when you, hopefully more sooner than later, look back and see, man, that song, you were there all the time. So, I experienced, just like I said, miraculous moments like that, and it's not long after that I began starting to have different dreams, different, prophetic dreams, not long after that, which I see reoccurring, that would happen almost a year apart, showing me different things.
You're in junior high now?
I'm progressing from, then that happened, I was in 4th grade. Now I'm progressing to, 6th, or I was in 5th grade. Now I'm in 6th grade, and I'm starting to play junior high, and I'm starting to play, baseball, and he's starting to engage me more, though, and show up in these, miraculous ways, that that things just keep starting to happen after that.
So give me some more examples.
And so, one example I'll give is that I remember walking outside. It was summertime. I was going to go down to see my friend. He lived down the street. And I came out of the house and I'm walking. As I come around the house and I'm walking, coming up the side of the house is this big blazing ball about this big of light, like a sparkler, just floating along.
In the
air. And I'm looking at it. And I walk up to it. And every time I get ready to go up, and right before I could touch it, it disappeared. Then I look, and now it's across the street. And I go over there, run over there, try to touch it again, disappear. Go. And I followed to it. Finally, it got, too far down the street. And it was, I would just, paranormal, type things, if you want to use it, things like this. So, but I'm having, these experiences. And so now comes that time I tell you where I'm playing baseball. And now, my stepdad, they're working and everything. And, he's from Africa, baseball is not necessarily his thing. And so they did good to let me even be, because I'm in a neighborhood with people that have. They did good to let me even be able to play baseball, and so I'm thankful just to be out there, and I don't even know how they managed to scrape the money together, because, and the glove I had was my uncle's glove, that he'd given my mom to hold on to. And so I'm, mismatched. I don't have I don't have anything. We don't have, but I'm there.
You're still describing that, even though we're progressing, even though we've moved from one neighborhood to another, I still don't have much in what the eyes of man would describe as much. I'm still the least of these. I still don't have very little, but we're making forward movement. So now you're Mitch-Mac, you got a borrowed glove.
Yes.
And somehow you're still able to go and engage in baseball.
Right. Because all I don't have, in my mind, I'm still on level with you. Although, because I didn't have the dad per se there to invest and to catch and to pour in and to put the time, like I put time into, but I'm there.
Okay.
And so I told you this in one of our kind of our pre-screening, conversations. So I'm, so we go out and we practice. And this is a note now to the kids that, if you're the last on your team, when it came time to cut the field for us, to be able to practice, all the other kids are not showing up with me. I showed up with a lawnmower and I helped cut that field. And I felt accomplishment in cutting this massive field that allows you to cut it out to be able to play. You make yourself valuable. We're in the places that you can.
Okay.
You can be the least, but you make yourself valuable in the places that you can. And that transfers all the way through life, even if you're the last on your team professionally. You may not make yourself valuable in the places that these are the lessons I learned as that least of one. When you're least, you got to find a way to make yourself relevant. So now we're in this field and we still have press down so you have everyone, all the main positions taken. And then if you had now the outfielders, the right, center, and left fielder, and as we're practicing, where your right, center, and left fielder, where the right fielder is here, I'm back here behind the right fielder. You know what I mean? So I'm not getting any balls or anything like that. And so finally, the coach says, Greg Smith, this one's for you. And he goes and he pops it and he hits it hard. And I look, and because I'm trying to find a way to make myself valuable. I'm trying to mimic what I've seen looks like success that they're doing, making the extra effort, diving for the ball, because I didn't have someone teaching me, telling me that. So, I'm trying to do what my mind says this is how it's done. And he hits the fly ball up and it goes up. Now, remember I told you, God already began engaging me in different ways, more like directly engaging me. And so I'm going back for the ball. Going back. Now we cut the field, but the field ain't perfect. You understand? It's still so right as we're going back, something catches my mismatched socks, and I trip and I fall down. And all I hear, all the kids laugh. I heard a lot of kids laughing at me. If you haven't caught that, when you're the least.
I'm catching that as you're sharing. That's happened a lot, and it looks like that's still emotional for you. I mean, it hits those spots.
It was, yes. Yeah.
So you laid back. You're hearing the laughter. And what happens next?
And so I'm then telling myself, mind you, the Lord has been engaging me, but I don't understand all that. It's like, okay, what do you expect? This is par for the course, man. You're the least anyway. This is just what always happens. And I'm sitting there, and then I hear this voice say to me, "Hey, Greg, look up." And I look up, and there's the ball. He says, "Lift your glove up." Now, I lift my glove up. The ball drops right into my glove. And I'm sitting there on my back, flat. Caught the ball. And everybody our kids that started laughing, "Oh my God, he caught it." He said, "No, he didn't." He said, "He did. He caught it." And I get up and I run and I'm so happy and I open my glove because that ball is in there. And the coach, and I'm running in and the coach says, "Greg Smith, did you actually catch that ball?" Like that. And I got it. I took it and I threw that ball in and I acted like I meant to do it.
Oh my. But, and so now that laughter turned into celebration
and notoriety, because that story then followed me to the 7th grade year in junior high. And now he's like, "Man, he did this play." And now kids are picking me for teams, and though I'm still lacking, I start, becoming a little bit of a quote unquote cool kid. The narrative starts to transform. It's funny, how he just took that and changed that, and left enough of me. See, the reason why I tell this is important is because when you come up lacking so much, and when you come up when you're the least so much, and you get shamed in the class and all this stuff, it can be very difficult when God does change your narrative to accept that your narrative has changed. You know, and you get, but he never, even though I was going through all those things, he never let my mind be in a place that I couldn't accept, because I always thought that I was quote unquote worthy. I'm just, he allowed me to have that, though all of these negative outward experiences were happening that would say otherwise. Another thing that happened during that season, I think I was telling you about, is how, he still wasn't confident. So I was sitting in the dugout, and again, he was not letting me have a chance to play. And so finally, we were going, and it was a contested game, and he called, you go ahead and go out there, and go out there. And I started to get ready, after this is out. So the man strikes out, get my glove, I go and get ready to go out there, and we're going. He says, no, Rex, you go, and I'm already partially out on the field. No, never mind, Rex, you go sit down. You go sit back down like that. And I can't. And now by this time, because I'm older, I've had some, but I'm set. So I kick my glove, and I go, and I don't think that people are watching me, but they're watching me.
You're still junior high?
I'm still junior high.
Okay.
And I get my glove, and I go, and I throw it, and I slam it against the wall. I sat down like this. I was just, I don't know what I was doing.
Right.
Not that I wasn't used to sitting on the bench anyway, because it wasn't even out, because I didn't have that support.
Right.
And he says, all right, well, fine, Griggs, go get your glove like that. He says, but if you miss that ball, blah, 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 blah. So I go out there, so you can imagine, first pitch, bang, they hit it, because we already had one out, and then he was subbing out. First pitch, bang, they're going hitting it directly to me, it's fire, and I'm running, and I go, and I, in fear, my heart is beating, and because that was part of this, is it's one thing to practice and God help you make a catch. It's another thing that you're in a game and there's consequences, and you don't have, that support that's building you up to telling you, a father telling you how great you are, and a mother telling you can, because they're still trying to hold it down and keep the lights on, which weren't on, sometimes. And I run, and somehow, again, I catch that ball, and I take it ball out, and I fire it, to second base, and he catches it, and it's a double play, and we're out of the inning. Everyone's hey, screaming and cheering, and so I'm starting to have these moments of, amazing success. That though I'm still the least, God is just sprinkling in these moments to, good things can happen for you. Good things, and I tell you, I'm gonna jump ahead, but we're gonna stay there. But there's a foreshadow. Those moments of sprinkling in cause me to always now start to have the mindset that it's good is always going to happen for me.
Okay.
I remember when I was coming towards the end of graduating college, I was seeing this waitress, and she was talking to me, and she looked at me, and she was talking to me, said, "You're one of those people where everything always works out for you, isn't it?" Like that. And I said, yeah, you're right. Actually, it does. I said, I can tell. You look like you're one of those people where things always just seems to work out for you. And so that affirmation began with him sprinkling this moment when I'm on my back and everybody's laughing.
Right.
And he tells me to look up. Just put your glove up, and the ball lands in the glove. And catching. He started giving me moments this that changed that started to confirm what I was already thinking, though the external was saying otherwise, that the Lord is for me. And I'm not, and let me say, and remember, I struggled with this. I struggled with partially if I wanted to, because some people may not feel like that. They had those traumatic events, but God didn't quote unquote show up that way. But because that didn't happen doesn't mean he's not for them. This is just the way, and for the ministry and for the path he was taking me, this is the way for my story. Okay, thank you, Holy Spirit. But he's just telling me, confirming in me again because he was in certain ways he's going to be holding me more accountable for different things, but for my story, these things really did happen, and they were pivotal for that young kid. They were pivotal. It was, I can say, I believe God saw it necessary to build the kind of personality and confidence that he wanted me to have later on in life for what he was going to do with my life. He had to begin sprinkling my personality and my successes then. And that involved in, again, seeing the impossible happen, like doors pop open.
Right. And when I think about it, I go back to the moment of tripping on the field, laying flat on your back, and you quoted something out of yourself. Oh, well, why should I expect more? Or
right.
That had that moment not happened for you, you could have gone a completely different path.
Yeah.
Had that sprinkle not happened, you were uttering an acceptance.
Yes.
That this is what it's going to be.
Yes.
This is how it always ends up. Why should I have expected more?
Yes.
And he showed up to say, you can't take that thought pattern.
And
you come on.
This is very important, the point that you're bringing, because I'm thinking that may be the very first time I actually, though I didn't utter it in my mouth, in my mind, I actually uttered those words. That was the finally, enemy, you've defeated me. I'll accept it. This is my lot in life. This is, I've heard the laughter before, I shook it off, but this time, this is just what it's always going to be.
And then he showed up.
And Daddy said, no, I can't. I've already started sowing. I've already invested too much in your life in ways you don't know to let you lay on your back and die.
And accept defeat. Align with defeat.
Yes. Align. Yes.
Defeat.
Yes. Now.
Start talking to yourself in a defeating manner.
Yes.
And so I think for, some of the men that are out there looking, or even little boys that may actually be exposed to the show, I think it's really important that you pause and take a moment and count what good is happening versus all of the bad that's happening. Because we're living in a time right now where, everything that doesn't line up with God's principles, or everything that doesn't line up with quote unquote good, because now we've kind of changed the labels. If it's good, it's really bad. And if it's bad, it's really good. And so there's confusing messages that are out there for our young men, young women, and even for our older men and older women. There are confusing messages that are out there. And I think, as you guys are listening to Greg's story, one thing that we would like each of you to be absolute in is in the core of everybody's being. As a humanity, we know right from wrong. In the core of everyone's being, life may not be dishing us a silver or gold spoon, but there is a creator that has purpose, that has destiny, that has a plan for your lives. And you can't lose hope, and even if you, for whatever reason, have the moment like Greg had, which was basically, okay, I've had enough of these laughters. I had enough of these falling down. I had enough of these lack, not having enough, but yet still trying to tell myself I'm equal. I'm up to par. Father knows when you're at your wit's end, and he knows how to step in and raise up a standard. And in several incidents, or several occasions, he stepped up and raised a standard. Yes. Even though you couldn't even articulate what that was, it gave you enough to keep moving. Yes. It gave you enough to keep you moving forward. And at one point in time, later on in life, you would understand what that all meant.
We'll understand it better by and by.
And that's what you're sharing. So I know you're in your junior high stages right now.
Yes.
Continue to take us on your journey.
So I start amazingly in junior high, becoming very popular. You know, still lacking. But when God puts a shine on you, people see the shine and they don't see the lack. Even though I was lacking. I mean, we didn't have any more money for clothes. We didn't have any more for anything. But I became a popular kid, a likable kid. It's funny. I had my own little dance group. My son laughs at it now. The name. But I was Dr. Live in the Funky Five.
Oh,
it was.
Did you want to reveal that? Somebody watching that's gonna be a part of your group and say, "Oh,
God, I remember."
Dr. Live and the Funky Five.
Yes. So,
And what kind of dance was it?
We were break dancers.
Okay.
We could do break. We do break dance and stuff. So, it's funny, but he's bringing he's bringing all of these moments, and now, let me tell you, I can tell you, wasn't like that we weren't still eating bread balls at home for sometimes and only having one meal a day, corned beef and rice. I can tell you, I've had corned beef and rice probably to, it should have been coming out of my ears. I mean, that was pretty much the meal every day: corned beef and rice, or spaghetti and corned beef and something, And so we're still lacking in the lights. We still would be off sometimes 3-4 days. But man, I'm still, because he's sprinkling these moments of success, I'm not seeing that, we were a loss, that we were not meeting up the way that, others, families were meeting up. And so anyhow, we get ready, and my sister, is a point where she's graduating high school, and my mom has a falling out with one of my dad's friends, and so we can no longer use the address for the nice school district. So now we're back to the considered less than school, school district.
As you transition to
high school? We transition to high school, yes. Okay. And so, as we get over there, now this school, has had, had some bad press, had some different things, stabbings, riots, a few times, race riots, but in that district, it was one of the better schools. So I remember going and my mom coming to, and I said this at one of the family get-togethers, and I say this now, in those days, kids didn't go and pick their schedules. Mama went with you and picked your schedule for you, and so my mom was there, and she was trying to get me into algebra, and I remember a teacher telling me, and I'm going to say it was a black teacher telling my mama that I couldn't take that class, wouldn't enroll me, that I basically that I wasn't smart enough. Again, at least, negative. And my mom didn't argue. She just cried and walked off. And so I was like, because I didn't understand, again, like the little boy, when serious conversations were happening. I didn't fully understand, what's going, because Mama's here. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And as she's sitting there, she's crying. It's not speaking to me, and she's standing there. This black gentleman says, "Ma'am, why are you crying like that?" And he says, "Ma'am, why are you crying?"
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Well, I wanted my son here, Greg, to enroll in algebra, but I took him over there, and the teacher said he's not smart enough." And she looked and he said, "Ma'am," he said, "give me your paper." He said, "put him in my class. I'll teach him." Like that. He said, "But he said he's not smart enough." He said, "I said, give me your paper." He said, "Here, give it." And he snatched the paper
Mm-hmm.
with authority. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Went, signed, said, you tell them I said, put him in my class. I'm going to teach him. Black man, I'm going to teach him.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, and she gave her the paper back. "Go right now and you tell me." And he went, and she walks out, "Come on, Greg," and went up there, and she slammed that paper down. He said, "Put him in the class." Now, I'm going to tell you, Sister Nicole, reason why this is important.
Mm-hmm.
Because that black man at that moment took this kid that was from used to being the least, then going to having some moments of success, then going to, I can be popular, but because I'm cool, for dancing or something like that, or funny or something like that, to, I'm going to cause you to see yourself there. I'm going to see that you can be these things because God has given you a mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he went on to teach teach me how to do taxes, and said, gave me confidence and taught me algebra. And it's like, don't ever take pre anything. If you can take this course, then you can take the regular of those. Gave me confidence to believe that I can take upper level course. He changed the paradigm on how I looked at myself at this point, academically, that I didn't have to be a statistic.
Mm-hmm.
That no, you got a mind. God's given you. You can actually compete with them on an academic scale. And when we threw a birthday party for Mom years and years ago, I said, and I know you say I keep on, but I have to.
No.
I said, it was my mom, she didn't get very far. You understand?
Yes.
She wanted something greater for her baby. So she knew that I may not know how to do algebra, but my son needs to know how to do algebra. So I'm going to do my best to try to put him in this class, even if the numbers say, because I need to change his trajectory. I need to change our story. Yes. The narrative concerning this family has to change.
I hope you're taking a liking to our special guest story. Over the next 4 weeks, our special guest will continue to take us on a journey sharing some of the darkest and most challenging moments encountered over the course of their lives. Be on the lookout for weekly drops every Thursday, and remember, Be Me Global is a safe place where you can authentically keep it real and be yourself.